Well, here we go. We got the one and dones taking on the system. Kentucky, the favorite over Wisconsin by a couple of points. The Wildcats have, boy, talk about getting hot at the right time. This is a team that I think it's fair to say underachieved for much of the season, but that all has gone away now because they're in the Final Four. Tremendous win over Louisville. The way they played the final 5 minutes of that basketball game against the Cardinals was truly impressive. And that's how Kentucky really, that was the game they were supposed to lose, and I thought they would. I thought Louisville would beat them. I was very impressed by that victory by the Wildcats. They've got tremendous talent. And, by the way, they get to the Final Four without Cauley Stein, who's a big part of the team, but he's got an ankle issue, and, he's still hurt. So, the talent is definitely there. Just shows what ability there is. The other team they are a system team. Wisconsin plays Bo Ryan's system, but this Wisconsin team is playing Bo Ryan's system better than any previous team. They had that one little slump, in the middle of the season. They've gotten rid of that, and John, they're playing really good ball coming in. They were playing good ball coming into the tournament, and they've continued to play outstanding basketball. Wisconsin is no Cinderella team, let's put it that way.
Yeah, Wisconsin had that mini slump in midseason, but before that and after that, boy, they have been outstanding. I like the balance that Wisconsin has on offense. They don't rely on just the big guys up front, Comiskey and Decker. They're pretty good guard play. However, I do have some concerns, though, with the rebounding ability of Wisconsin in this game. Comiskey was terrific against Arizona the last game, held up against the 7-footers that they have. However, I look at some of the other games that they played this year, and Wisconsin did have some trouble with big physical rebounding teams. The game before, they played against Baylor, won the game easily, but they got out-rebounded on the offensive glass, 11-8. Comiskey for the entire game had 4 rebounds. The Big Ten tourney, Michigan State out-rebounded them by +4, and that was an 83-75 Spartan win. In fact, Spartans shot 57% from the field. Go back and look at some of those other games during that slump. Northwestern out-rebounded them by 6 and shot 48%. That was a Northwestern upset by 9 points. And Minnesota blew them out 81-68 with a +10 rebounds. And then the earlier season win over Florida, which is so impressive. Even in that game, Comiskey wasn't a factor. 3 of 8 shooting, 8 points and 5 rebounds. And that's a concern for me because this Kentucky team is no ordinary front court, no ordinary rebounding team. They're number 5 in the country. They're big. They're athletic. We've seen that all during this tournament game. So, and even the guard play, too. I mean, Wisconsin's guards are 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". Not so with Kentucky. They got 3 guys who are 6'6". So I wonder if Calipari's going to make some mismatches, even with the guards taking those smaller Wisconsin guards down low. So I kind of lean toward Kentucky in this one. Kentucky is 7-0 against the spread with a winning record. And also when they played the Big Ten, Jim, they're 7-1-1 against the spread.
Well, Kentucky was, in the beginning of the year, everybody said Kentucky's the number 1 team in the country. This team might sweep the board. They might go 40-0. That didn't happen. But, when you're dealing with five freshmen, I mean, these are kids of 18 years old. I mean, they're the young guys. And now they're coming in from all parts of the country. They're good at basketball, and they have to now be molded. And Calipari doesn't get a lot of credit for that. I mean, he should, because molding young people into one finely tuned unit, which he has done, takes a lot of work and a lot of skill. And he is a good coach. He knows what the hell he's doing. Bo Ryan is a great coach, too. He's been around a long time, won a lot of games, has a great system, as Dave said. He doesn't have a lot of experience at this level because I don't think he's never made it to the Final Four before. As far as the 4 coaches, there's really one inexperienced coach, and that's Kevin Ollie for Connecticut, who replaced Calhoun. And he's done a great job. But in this game, these coaches are well matched. Kentucky, this big physical front line, and those, John, you pointed it out perfectly. The guards, they're big guards. The Harrison twins, these guys can play basketball, and they're large, they're big kids. And, the games that they won, very impressive. They lost by a point to Florida in the last time they met them. And then they beat Kansas State. Then Wichita State, which was a great game. I mean, they're all great games. And Louisville was another tight game down to the end, and Michigan down to the end. They dominated on the board, and I feel they're going to do it again in this game as well. Now it's going to come down to that selective shot taking by Wisconsin. They're going to move the ball around, look for a good shot, and if they hit a good percentage, it's kind of goes back to the Connecticut game. They're probably going to lose it on the boards. They're going to have to hit their outside shots. In this game, however, the strength of Wisconsin is not in their guard play, it's in Kaminsky.
Yep.
Can Frank Kaminsky have a huge physical front line like this? Now, granted, Kentucky did lose their big guy. And that will make a difference because now they have to match up with some other players who are maybe a little bit quicker, but they're not the same side. So it's really going to be a mystery. You know, bottom line is when you look at the numbers on these two teams, recent numbers on how they've been playing, they're pretty damn close to the number. Again, the odds makers have done a good job making this team 1.5, 2-point favorite is about the right number. And Kentucky has covered 7 of their last 8 games. The only time they've lost against the spread was when they laid 6 against, or they took 6. You know, they won that game. They took 6 against. I'm sorry, I can't see it right here. Oh, it was against Florida a couple of weeks ago when they lost by a ton, 19 points. They lost by a ton, taking 9. So that was the last time, but they've won a bunch in a row, 7 in a row against the spread. Red hot team, big physical front line, big guards, well coached, lots of experience. Kentucky's been there before. Wisconsin hasn't. The question is Frank Kaminsky. Can they get him the ball in a position where he can do some damage? Because he's going to have to go up against a very large front line.
Yeah, the flip side of that is that Wisconsin's going to play their usual disciplined basketball, and they are not going to turn the ball over. They just don't turn it over. This is a Bo Ryan trait. His teams have as good a ball security as any teams you're ever going to find, year after year. And this year is no different. If Kentucky can't force Wisconsin into, maybe I'm going to say double-figure turnovers, get them to 10 or 11 turnovers, they're not going to get 20 or anything like that. That's just not going to happen. But if Kentucky doesn't at least force some turnovers, Wisconsin will hit enough shots to be in this basketball game. Kentucky's got to find a way to get Wisconsin out of their comfort zone. And Wisconsin, what they're going to want to try and do is frustrate Kentucky and make them impatient. When Bo Ryan, you can go back through the years that he's been there, when he is able to get the opposition to play a style they don't want to play, he almost always wins. And that's going to be really interesting to see if the Kentucky players, the kids on this team, all these freshmen, can maintain their discipline and their focus. I think the experience edge, even though they've never been, the school has never been to the Final Four, or maybe they have at some point, but, when I'm talking recent, I still think the experience edge, the smarter team is probably Wisconsin. Kentucky's still reliant on very young players, and I'm not sure they're going to, if Wisconsin is in this game, they're not going to rattle down the stretch like we saw Louisville do. I don't know why Louisville did rattle down the stretch, but they did. It's a great contest. I think the line is about where it should be. I agree with you there that it was basically a pick'em game. Money as expected came in Kentucky. I'll again save the side of my personal players and for those who take advantage of the special. On the total, though, well, it's 140, and to me, if it goes over, I think Wisconsin's in trouble. If it stays under, I think there's a good chance Wisconsin's playing on Monday. So the pace of this game is going to dictate who gets there. Got some props.
We'll go back to the 3-point shooting, Dave. The team that they're going to play in the same venue as Connecticut, who depends on the 3-point shot. And again, this is a big venue, so we know that the 3-point shot is a fickle statistic. And when you play in a larger venue, it's technically more difficult. It's not for everybody because some of these guys can adjust to it. And Wisconsin is going to have to adjust to that, and they do depend on it more than Kentucky does.
Yeah.
So, again, you have Kentucky with the big guards, very physical down low, And we saw what they did against Michigan. They just, they were just taking every ball, taking it back, and putting them back, putbacks all the time, rebounding edge. Wisconsin's going to have to fight that issue and hit their outside shots and not turn the ball over. All that, these are question marks, and the venue takes a little bit more work to deal with because they have to overcome the sight lines and the backgrounds and all the other things that players have had difficulty with over the years. You're playing in a football stadium. It's not a basketball court.
No, I know. And it could be a distraction. We'll see how that goes. They are college kids, after all. Bunch of props up at the LVH, and other places will have props up as well. You can bet on almost anything. Jay Carnegie in particular, with that staff at the LVH, they just come up with more cool stuff. Team to score 10-plus points first. Total points props on a bunch of guys. All I can tell you on the props, without going into them, is that the public loves to bet overs on these props. So you got these individual point props on Napier, Young, Boatwright, Prather, Daniels, Randall, Brust, Young, Jackson, Harrison, etc. The public likes to play overs on these. The value is generally in the under. It's easy to look, and I can see why. Look, it's easy to look at Napier, and the over and under is 18.5. Well, the guy's scoring 20-plus every game night right now. So I think the natural tendency there is to go ahead and jump in on the over. The value, wait to see what the price does. Right now, it's they're pick 'em on these prices. I think you can get some value on unders as you get closer to the game on these. That would be my formula with the props, is look for unders.
Well, John, Dave, that makes sense. If you just look at the Napier issue and look at the head coach for the other side, they're going to say, hey, Napier is the biggest weapon they have. He killed us in the first game that we played him. Let's play a defense that keeps the ball away from him, make it harder for him to get involved, and let the other guys beat you. That's one approach. The other approach would be let Napier do all his damage, and we'll freeze out everybody else and put all the pressure on Napier. Especially we're playing in a bigger venue. He's an outside shooter. He might have trouble hitting the shot, so we'll let him do his thing. So that's another approach. So it depends on what the coaching philosophy is in these games. And a lot of times, in the old days we didn't have this, but now we do. There's a thing called live betting.
Yes.
And as you're watching the game being played and you're seeing what the coaches are doing, there's some edges in there. Say, oh wow, look at the coaches playing a box and one on this guy, or they switch to a zone, or they usually play man. Now they're doing that. So you can make moves and take advantage of that.
Yeah, and if you like the game to go under the total, you'd also do what Dave mentioned, look at individual players like the UConn-Florida game. That first game went under the total. If you're looking for a similar slow defensive style, one of the props that stands out for me is Kentucky-Wisconsin. You got Julius Randle over or under 15.5 points. Well, he's going to probably get more shots in the low post because Cauley Stein is not there. So I would say over. And I also like the rebounding edge, too. Julius Randle over 15.5 points.
It's going to be fun, and there are more betting opportunities now than there ever been before. So don't splash randomly, but study these things, and if you can come up with good opinions, fire away. If you can't and you're confused, I think you call one of us. We might be able to help you out. My Final Four, once again, you get all three games, the two on Saturday, the one on Monday, $4 for all three games, and by signing up today, you're going to get a high-end baseball play that I've got tonight. I think it's a very strong play. And everything is yours for $4. The number to call, 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. Mr. Vegas, high roller wipeout with Kentucky, and another one set up for the Final Four, John.
That's right. I'll give a best bet out on a prop bet. You got Patrick Young of Florida over or under 10.5 points. Well, I like the Florida rebounding edge. And in that earlier meeting, he had 17 points and 7 rebounds. I think you can duplicate that again. Patrick Young over 10.5 points. If you want to play the rest of April in all sports with Mr. Vegas, including the Final Four this weekend, baseball and the NBA, $19 the entire month of April for Mr. Vegas. Just call 1-866-896-1627.
Jim, it's been real good for you in the baskets, and now you add baseball into the mix. Here's a chance for people to play the Final Four, the championship game, the NBA, Major League Baseball, all kinds of stuff, and you've got them all tied in with a terrific offer.
Absolutely. $29. You can play right through Monday pro and college basketball for $29. The Final Four, the title game, NBA, plus it includes a high roller going tonight, and the number is to call 1-866-841-1655. It's $29. You get to play from today right through Monday. You get the NBA and college basketball all included, and the $500 high roller included as a bonus. 1-866-841-1655.
Okay, well, I think that's it. We will sporadically be doing more of these. Still lots of NBA to talk about. And once the college basketball's out of the way this weekend, the NBA moving toward the playoffs, going to be lots of things to focus on there. So we're going to continue to do Prolines and hope you'll continue to watch. In the meantime, take advantage of the offers. Enjoy the Final Four. Remember one thing, by the way, it's just one bet. Don't go insane on it and get away from your money management principles because you don't want to blow your wad on one game. That's stupid. You want to be in this for the long haul, you got to exercise discipline. So play it the way we tell you to play them, and I think you'll be pretty happy with the results. For John and Jim, I'm Dave. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you very soon on Proline.